Hey guys, welcome back here to episode 15.5 of the BIOS only. So as I had briefly mentioned in my previous video that went up about maybe a little while ago, I was going to save the BIOS and that we would be seeing from Brooklet Hill because we had a sheer number of BIOS and that was going to be talked about from there. So to make things a little bit easier to view, especially on my end, I'm going to be going ahead and talking about the Pokemon that you'll be finding out at Brooklet Hill and a whole lot easier. So with that out of the way, cue the music! Starting things off is Paris. Not really the way how I wanted to start things off, but I'm sure that it will get into this nonetheless. So, Paris can be found only during the day. Grass bug type, you probably know this thing, it's a classic. What's really interesting is that this is one of the few Pokemon, the other one being Shroomish, that could potentially learn the move Spore, a 100% status-afflicting move that will guarantee a Pokemon to sleep. It doesn't learn it until a very high level though, however. When it has something like that, it makes it up for having Effect Spore for the ability, which can cause poison, sleep, or paralysis on the attacker, which is all around very nice. But why would you want this thing when this thing is already squishy as it is, especially in the fact that it has a major weakness to fire and ice? If you want to get by all of that, it's not bad. Dry Skin can be rather interesting, which only restores HP in rain or when it's hit by water type moves, but it's the total opposite of when it's hit by fire type moves. In fact, even one hit from a fire type move like an Ember will kill this thing. So, what? But anyway, Paris is okay, just not the best one that I would recommend. Up next, Psyduck! Another classic, pure water type, you know this thing well. Unfortunately, it's not exactly living up to the reputation like previous versions have. It's not all lost though. I recommend out of all the other abilities, Cloud 9 for double battles, but Swift Swim for a single player. Swift Swim is indeed its hidden ability, which I don't know why, but it doesn't really matter, especially since that it could potentially learn some Psychic type moves, which are phenomenal as it is. If you want one, I'd recommend Cloud 9 for its regular abilities, but if you get Swift Swim, very good to have. Next up is Poliwag. Again, another classic, pure water type. You know this thing, you know it well. I'm not going to talk about its evolutions later on because you could potentially find its evolution on Poliwhirl a little bit later on. But I will go ahead and talk about some brief things and what both this and its evolution are known for. This thing is not bad. Water Absorb is a very good ability which restores HP if it's hit by a water type move. But I'm only recommending this for double battles though. But it's not all lost though. Once again, like it with Psyduck, it has Swift Swim for its hidden ability. Again, why does it have that? I have no idea. In fact, that Swift Swim ability, get used to seeing that, because these Pokemon are going to have it more than you think. I'm going to leave it at that though, but onto Poliwag itself, it's not bad. It's meant to be a very balanced out water type. In fact, it can even learn some really nice moves like Hypnosis on all moves. But that's about where all the positives end. Its stats are average, and some of the moves that it learns just don't quite exactly complement it well. But later on, we'll get into some better ones when the time comes. Next up is Surskit. This is a Pokemon that can only be found during the nighttime. Bug water type, and a Pokemon that many fans like us depict of whether if Misty will like this thing or will hate it. What's really nice is that it has a very cool hidden ability of Rain Dish, which gradually regains HP in rain, specifically only 1/16 of it. This used to be the signature ability of the Lotad line, but now other Pokemon can potentially learn this thing as a hidden ability except for the Lotad line. I can understand for why that is. Surskit is meant to be a very fast water bug type. In fact, once it evolves, it loses that bug subtype and becomes a flying water type. Excuse me, a bug flying type, excuse me. It will lose that Swift Swim and only replace it with Intimidate, which is a very nice ability. But that's about for where the positives end for Surskit, though. It's kind of nice in it to have this thing here for where it knows some decent water and bug type moves. In fact, you can even learn bug buzz at a pretty nice level. But again, it's right here, but your mileage may vary on how you use this thing. During the daytime, and oh boy, have I got something to talk about. Dewpider. This is a water bug type that I consider this to be a very good Pokemon. In fact, I kind of consider this to be underrated. It is armed with a signature ability of Water Bubble. It lowers the power of fire type moves that is done to the Pokemon and prevents the Pokemon from getting a burn. This is a very good thing. In fact, it pretty much just negates the normal damage that it would usually get from fire type moves. It pretty much just turns it into a non-effective move. Very nice to have. But what really shines bright is that it has a great variety of moves that I can learn naturally. Look it up! It is a very nice ability and has some great moves. It'll evolve at level 22 and into probably one of the most beautiful Pokemon out there. But it's kind of hard to pronounce it because if I had the name right here, I probably would say it right at the back, but oh well. It doesn't really matter. Dewpider is a very good Pokemon. It does suffer from a little bit of some lacking of some defense and a little bit of some speed. But Water Bubble definitely would make it up for having such a great ability with some lackluster moves in its stats. Please do not get a Morlord with Illuminate for the ability! I'm just going to say that very clearly. Morlord is a grass fairy type that can only be found during the nighttime. In fact, when I first saw this, I was all like, what is this thing? Okay, yes, I know it was a grass type. I thought it might be another poison type, but no, it's a part fairy type. It's very interesting to call it for something like that, especially since it's based off like some kind of like magical crack or something. FX Spores is the better of the abilities, obviously, but it does suffer a few major flaws since it has a sheer number of weaknesses, and the fact that its defenses, in terms of both physical and special, are, well, iffy. It's not bad of a Pokemon. In fact, I kind of see this as a Pokemon that I really could consider him for anyone to use on their team. Just, unless if you are going for a Pokemon catching spree, do not use Illuminate for its ability. That's all I'm going to say. Up next are Goldeen and Seaking. Goldeen and Seaking are found together through SOS battles. They're another classics, pure water types. In fact, these are the only Pokemon that are potentially capable of learning Waterfall naturally. This was the original Waterfall natural learner. So, what is this thing good for? It's meant to be a very good physically offensive. It's a water type move, and, well, apparently it can learn Peck naturally as well. But what's very odd, it has that hidden ability of Lightning Rod, which draws in electric type moves and boosts its special attack stat. Very interesting to say the least. I'm only recommending that for double battles though. It says that his special attack stat is pretty below average. Having that Lightning Rod ability can actually make it somewhat beneficial. But let's face it, Swift Swim's probably going to be the better one of the ability. Water Veil is not bad, which prevents it from getting a burn, but why would you want that if it's already a part water type as it is? I guess it prevents it from getting to become a fish stick. Oh well. Next up are another classicals of Magikarp and Gyarados. Gyarados is found through SOS battles, and it starts off as a water type but becomes a part flying type. I'm going to start off with Magikarp on this one because it's pretty straightforward. It only knows Splash, Tackle, and Flail through leveling up, and that's about as good as it's going to be. Swift Swim, already has spoken of from before. Rattle's very interesting. I've briefly shown this to a past Pokemon that had this thing, but if you want one, any one of these stats would benefit Gyarados perfectly because Swift Swim will become Intimidate, which is already great as it is. However, if you can get this thing with Rattle to become Moxie, you will have a Gyarados that will be a force to be reckoned with. I love this thing more than most. You probably already have one at this point if you've already done a little bit of some fishing as it is, because, well, it's very easy to level up. just keep it in your party, battle some trainers or some wild Pokemon. There you go. Be mindful that Gyarados, it does have a major weakness to electric. In fact, it's its only quad weakness, but it does have more other weaknesses like rock. If you can get by all that, especially with either of its abilities, Gyarados will serve you well. Next up is once again another classical, Tentacool. Of course, water poison type, very nice. It's a very good special wall. You know this and you know it well. Liquid Ooze is probably going to be the better of its ability, especially since you'll be facing off with opponents and that are known to have draining moves. But instead of healing them, it hurts them. It's not bad, but if you want to be a little bit more tactical, Clear Body will definitely help, which will prevent moves or abilities from lowering its stats. Unless if you're going up against a Pokemon with Mold Breaker for the ability. Rain Dish is okay, I guess, but I've already mentioned about this from once before. It's only locked away as a hidden ability minus the low tad line. It's not bad, very good special wall when used correctly, but if you're looking for anything that's good for physical offensive purposes, this isn't your guy. It's really good for mostly being a special wall and can deal with special hits, and it evolves into Tentacruel at a pretty decent amount of level. If you can get by all that, Tentacool is a very good Pokemon that will help you out in many situations. That is if they're packing up with ground type moves or any moves that do not involve any absorbings. What do we got next? Oh, it's you. Finneon. Listen, I really hate giving a lot of these Pokemon some bad reviews. Finneon is unfortunately one of those. However, it's not all lost for this pure water type. Of course, Swift Swim is going to be a very good ability to go for. However, if you want to be more competitive with this thing, it is given a very nice ability of Storm Drain. It draws in water type moves and it boosts a special attack stat. This is a very good ability. I'm only recommending this for double battles though. Just hit this thing with a water type move with this ability and then boom. It is very good and it raises that low special attack stat to make it a little bit more viable. As for the moves and that it knows, it's mostly meant to be a very fast kind of Pokemon. And if you're giving this thing Swift Swim, it's almost guaranteed to go first only in rain. So if you're looking for a rain summon on your team, Finneon is okay, but it's already as a glass cannon as it is. So good luck raising one. It's not all lost for this little fishy fish. Next up, Alomomola, which I actually just realized it's Alomomola spelled backwards. Girafarig did it better. Pure water type, Gen 5 Pokemon. We all believe that this one was the evolution of Luvdisc. Turns out, they're not. So, what good is this thing for? If you're looking for any good Alomomola, probably the best and the one that you're going to have to go for is either Hydration or Regenerator for its ability. Healer is an ability that will heal an ally status condition in double battles. That's about as good as I was going to say. It can learn some, I think 1 or 2 ice type moves, but what is the point if this thing isn't going to be a tanking supporter? And even though that has a base stat level of 470, 165 of that is HP, and I know this by heart. If you want this to be a good member of your team, I'm only recommending this Pokemon for competitive play, like in double battles, because that healer will help out to force status conditions on your ally. But other than that, just use another Pokemon, and that's as good as it is. Next up, Feebas! It's the Magikarp Generation 3. And this thing sucks. Like in Gen 5, you no longer have to find this thing while going on certain tiles or anything like that. But the other big problem that I have with this is that the item that we needed to evolve won't be given to you until, well, later. But this is what you're going to be seeing as it is with its stats. Adaptability is okay, but it's not really going to help out much if its only other moves that it learns are Splash, Tackle, and Flail. So, what? I'm not saying that it's bad. It's just, it's locked away for having to be traded away with the person to get it to its evolution on Milotic, which we won't be seeing for some time. So, as it stands, Feebas is good, but that's about where all the good things will end. We're home free. Our last Pokemon, Wishy-Washy. Pure Water type, you've already seen how dangerous this thing can be in battle, especially since we're going up against its Totem Pokemon. But I want to talk a little bit more about its signature ability of Schooling. Schooling will transform it into its, school form. And when its HP is at a lot, it performs a powerful School Fish, which will actually make it a little bit more durable. However, if its HP is low, or if it's below level 20, you're not going to be able to have this to be at its fullest potential because, well, let's face it, you're not going to go ahead and be having some good fish sticks after this. You're only just going to be getting it as pretty bad sushi. Wishy-Washy is okay, but don't let that Totem Pokemon fool you. It's a bit of a glass cannon, but if you want to use this thing, be absolutely sure you know how to properly use that schooling ability, and make sure that you have some very high HP. In fact, I recommend you have this thing at maximum HP and at least level 20. Trust me, it's a very good Pokemon. Just make sure that you're using the right moves.